No dessert? But a drink is okay? Right you are then. TL. Dr. Boss didn't want to buy dessert but allowed for one more drink. So I'll order the most expensive drink on the menu then. A decade ago I was working for a small company of 7 ppl. Very solid bunch that stood by each other. 3 months after I started we were acquired by a larger company. So we get a new manager. Mr. Bootstrap. All is well. We are a solid group and work well together, but the new manager is not playing ball. Very stiff on the wallet and such when we needed basic equipment like keyboards and screens and chairs and stuff. Get to the point will you? So, on to the mic. We had a division day out to up the spirits with the new manager and it ended with a dinner. When it was time for dessert, the manager said, "Oh no. This has been a pretty expensive day already. But I'll allow one drink more." I got the drinks menu from the waiter. Order 1 glass of Prieti fine whiskey. And the looks on my friends' faces was priceless. Not sure Mr. Bootstrap noticed until later. Gosh darn, it was a good whiskey. And a lot more expensive than the dessert I didn't get. Thanks Mr. Bootstrap. That was one heck of a drink I'll probably never indulge in again. Update. There seems to be some PPL assuming this was a small company with a small budget we merged with. Not at all. Compared to us. They were well off. This we knew. And they got our company cheap as I later found out. They were just being cheap towards everybody. But the way our new MNGR claimed an expensive day there at the table did not go down well with our old manager who was with us there. Even though he did not act on it then and there. But it was obvious he was mad about it. I mean we were only 7 going out and the company was paying for it. Oh, and the drink wasn't that expensive. Just the most expensive they had on the menu. Sadly, they didn't serve milkshakes. I worked at a company where we could have a team lunch. With a budget of £10 per person. The 6 of us went to a pub where you could get a pint of beer and a basic burger within the budget. But 2 people had the cheeseburger. And the bill exceeded the budget by about 60 pence. My managers was told that his excess claim for expenses was reduced to just the allowed amount. We all offered to chip in the missing amount. Only half seriously. But it was the principle that mattered. This became the talking point of the entire company for a while. Probably costing days of accumulated productivity. Far more than the 60p. I was at an educational conference, think tank thing in Washington, D.C. a few years ago sponsored by the Gates Foundation. Among other organizations. It was a catered dinner and open bar at this restaurant near the National Mall. And I asked the bartender if open bar meant everything. He gave me a knowing glance and said, "You're asking about the fancy scotch old enough to rent a car, aren't you?" Quote. I laughed and said, "Doesn't hurt to ask." Quote. He got down the bottle and said, "Billionaires are paying the tab, bro," as he poured me a double. After taking a sip of the smoothest damned liquor I've ever tried, I asked him how much it would cost. A single was $275. More than my monthly car payment at the time. I'd have ordered a mudslide. It's a drink, and a dessert. Real MC would have been ordering a milkshake. I thought it was going to end in up getting a milkshake. Flashback to an awful memory from my long ago corporate days. It wasn't mentioned in the interviews. But when I started as a regional controller for a new division of a major national media company, I was stuck with managing customer service. I had a great bunch of CSRs, thankfully. And to show my appreciation for how they made silk purses out of sow's ears in spite of corporates' best effort to make everything a CF. I'd buy them pizza or whatever else they wanted about every other month. Enter a seagull manager from corporate. That's a manager who flies in, makes a lot of noise, craps on everything, and flies away. No direct authority over me or my boss, the GM, but someone with enough juice to force us to change everything from the last seagull manager's dicta to his. Drove us crazy. This alleged person sees some Chinese entrees I'd bought for my people and goes ballistic. Slashes my budget for waste. Neither he nor the other high and mighty at corporate would even listen to my protest that I didn't pay for it with company money. It was on my dime. When I continued to protest that they couldn't cut my budget when I wasn't spending company money, I got threatened with a write-up for insubordination and bad attitude. This is an own goal. It will just make manager, company stop drinks, dinners and watch the pennies even more. There's quite a cross-section of things people post in MC that are probably better suited for AITA. Not all managers get generous budgets to work with. Do you know whose purse the bill was being covered by? If it was the company's, I can appreciate with this, but if it was the manager's own wallet, this is awful, cause he told you he was at the limits of his budget. It wouldn't be malicious compliance then. Just plain malicious. I've worked for a small company before and my manager got a bonus when we didn't. So she treated us to food when it came around. We never knew what her bonus total was though, so there was no top shelf ordering unless she was doing it. This isn't MC, it's just petty. You're kind of a dick for doing that. You complain that the company is tight with their money. Yet the first opportunity provided, your only goal was to get more. I have always lived by this rule. Would I buy that if I was on my own dime? If the answer is yes, then I would order it in this situation. And we never went out to dinner again. This isn't MC. This is you taking advantage of someone's generosity. You aren't entitled to dessert. Or dinner for that matter. And they didn't force you to get a drink. They just let you know where the limits of their generosity were. And you took advantage of them. Seems kind of childish. You're the one guy who ruins it for everyone. I hope you enjoyed your petty compliance, since it will probably be the last time he takes you out. How has no one asked the real question yet? What kind of whiskey? Wait, you're going to just go with this story and not say the brand and type of whiskey? Come on. No manager could be cheaper than mine. A few years ago, when he asked 2 of us to share a steak because it'll be a big portion, 10 of us went for lunch. No drinks. And the total was not even $200. He was whining about that and shut up only when I offered to pay my share. Some managers feel as if they're spending from their own pocket. That's when you order an ice cream float. Technically, it's a beverage. This just seems like a dick move from you. Your manager treated you to a meal and lovely evening and you did this.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.